I am not okay. What the heck is happening? I need to know. Cassandra Clare hates happiness. Hello book reading friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Mel, and today I bring you an episode of Nobody Will Ever Be Happy, also known as my review and reading vlog on Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. I call this the episode in which nobody is happy because Cassandra Clare hates happiness. She really does. And at this point in time, I have already finished Chain of Iron. So I've already read this chunker and I have absolutely no words for what I witnessed, experienced, saw, tasted, was mad at, cried at in this book, because I am just all over the place, all the emotions, all of them. Now, if you don't know what Chain of Iron is, it is the second installment in the Last Hour series, the first book being Chain of Gold, and this trilogy in particular is after the events of the Infernal Devices, which is the prequel to the Mortal Instruments, and in here we follow some characters that we know and love, and children of said characters that we know and love, and we especially follow the Carstairs and the Blackthorns as they arrive to London, and there has been zero to none demonic activity, and once they arrive, that demonic activity starts picking back up, and they also bring a plague with them that starts literally killing off essentially the Shadowhunter community. And this is a very character-driven story, I would say, in comparison to other Cassandra Clare books. I would say that in here the plot doesn't shine as much as the characters do, and in this scenario I really don't mind it because the characters are incredible. And so you guys know this was one of my most anticipated releases of 2021, and so I just had to bring you a spoiler reading vlog because the reading vlog portion is going to be spoiler. I just cannot discuss this book without the spoilers, so the majority of the video will be spoilery, but there will be a spoiler-free section towards the end. And yeah, I don't think there's anything else to say about this book except let's get right into it, because I've already edited the reading vlog and I already know it's gonna be long, so we can get straight into it with no further ado. I said that backwards, but let's get crackling, people. All right, y'all, I am ready to start Chain of Iron. I literally said I'm not gonna finish my reread of Chain of Gold, which is odd for me to do because it feels like DNFing the book, even though I'm technically not DNFing the book, but this is what we're doing today. I'm excited about reading Chain of Iron. I hope my theories are correct. Let's just get into it. I'm scared. If I come out of this liking Grace Blackthorn, I shall be surprised because I hate the living guts out of her. And I don't think that's going to change, but apparently people say that you come out of this book understanding her, and I don't know if I want to. It's time to start the book, and yeah, let's get started. I literally am only 4 pages in, but we've already seen a murder, and it literally starts with a quote from Jack the Ripper. Soon he would be strong enough to take on his true enemies. As he turned to leave the alley, he whispered their names under his breath. James Herondale, Cordelia Carstairs. I am not okay. Not Cordelia and James. They literally have not done anything to anyone. James is... Oh my god. I am really not ready for this book. I am not ready for what's to follow, and I really should have finished my reread of Chain of Gold before this, but alas, here we are. Nothing good is gonna come out of Grace Blackthorn, is there? Because she just said they need to contact a necromancer to bring Jesse back from the dead. Also, I have a theory. Whomever the killer is, could it possibly be someone that Lucy brought back from the dead and accidentally it ended up causing that? Because we've already seen that Lucy attempted to bring Jesse back from the dead, like, you know, with her power of raising the dead. Could it possibly be that she raised someone that she wasn't intending to raise, and now that person is like possessing? Who is it? Is it Belial? Is it Lucy? Like, who is doing this? I need answers, and I need them quickly. Also, look at this freaking stunning illustration of Cordelia. I love it. Okay, I look kind of trashy right now, but I totally forgot that Malcolm Fade was the High Warlock of London when all of this is going down. My theory is gonna be, if you've read The Dark Artifices, you know. And my theory is that Malcolm is gonna learn how to do necromancy in this book because of freaking Lucy and Grace. I just need to say this real quick. I'm a Matthew and Cordelia shipper. Always have been. I mean, I love James. Don't get me wrong. I love me some James. But I'm kind of rooting for Mr. Matthew. I will admit this very publicly. They just brushed lips accidentally because he turned his face at the last moment when she was gonna give him a kiss on the cheek. But I want Matthew and Cordelia to have just moments. Like, they don't have to end up together, but at least make it, you know, this is the one time I'd be okay with a love triangle. The one time where I'd be okay if we didn't know who Cordelia was gonna end up with. Hi everyone, it's the next day, day 2 of reading Chain of Iron, and I'm currently on page 57, so not that much progress, but I don't know if this is something that we already knew, if this is new knowledge, but Jesse died the day that he got his Voyance rune. I don't know if this was mentioned in Chain of Gold because I never finished my reread, but he died because of the Voyance rune. I'm excited to find out more about Jesse, and I feel like through Grace's eyes we will, and that's the only way that we'll really find out about Jesse, because Jesse with Lucy is like very cryptic, he's like very mystical. I don't remember the Voyance rune. Like, is this the first time that we've heard of this, or is this like common knowledge? Because Mel is confusion. I was really shocked though. I hate Grace Blackthorn. I hate her with my entire being because she is not over here fighting with Matthew because she wants to talk to James in his wedding day. She literally just told Matthew, I shall quit James's company if he asks me to do it, not if you ask me to do it. I owe you nothing. You owe him nothing. You better step back, sis. You better step back and go to wherever the hell you came from and do not mess with James on his wedding day. Literally, why is James so thick? How does he not understand what Grace is trying to do? He literally just told Matthew, perhaps if you got to know her better. Know her better? I don't want to know her. I don't want to know Grace Blackthorn. Nobody does, James. I need to know the expiration date to his understanding of Grace and his love for Grace. I need an expiration label on this ASAP. Like, right now. Okay, so we have now found out that Grace has the power to enchant men in whatever way she wants, and she can make them agreeable to whatever she wants. So she is definitely being manipulated by Tatiana, which we already knew that was gonna happen. That was one of my theories. So I was not that far off with Tatiana being kind of like the mastermind and then Grace being a pawn. Do I like her because I know she's not necessarily evil? No. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to like Grace as a character just because she's caused so much damage. She'd have to make some really big sacrifice for me to actually start enjoying her character. So I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. But Cordelia is now walking down the aisle and she is dressed in all gold and she has Cortana strapped at her back, and Jem is playing the violin as their wedding gift outside because the Silent Brothers can't be at weddings. And I am emotional, and I just see, this is the thing. I'm supposed to be happy for James and Cordelia, but I'm just like, Matthew. I really want something to happen with Matthew. See, I'm a Matthew shipper. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I kind of do want them to end up together rather than with James, because James is too thick, man. It's just, snap out of it. Snap out of it. Okay y'all, so I was not planning on updating you right now. I was actually planning on getting to page 300 before I gave you like a rundown of my thoughts. However, Tatiana Blackthorn is getting on my last freaking nerve and I just need to update. So I'm currently on page 238. I'm literally, 1, watching Gavin sprints because today is Monday, and 2, I was just editing a video, putting it up. I need to send it for review. So I'm doing all of this, and then I sat down to read, and Miss Tatiana Blackthorn chose violence. So let me just give you a quick rundown of all of my thoughts. The first thing, just James and Cordelia being in this marriage. Yes, we all know it's a ruse. Yes, we all know it's fake, but we also know that they love each other. Like, there is no doubt that they love each other. Like, we'd be fools to not believe that they are actually in love. So, love that for them. I love the little game that they have developed for, you know, every night where they play a game of chess or a game of cards, and whoever wins gets to ask the loser a question, and then the loser gets to pick what game they're playing next. I think that is such a great dynamic. Definitely lends itself for a lot of angst, freaky questions of do you love me not, so I'm here for it. We all know that Cassandra Clare is definitely gonna do that because we all know she hates happiness. Really cute moment with James when he shows Cordelia the house and he really catered everything to and for her. A lot of Persian references, a lot of Persian like china and paintings, just to make her feel comfortable and at home. You can tell how much care James has for Cordelia just for that alone, because he goes into those little details to make sure that she feels good. And no, like, not everyone is gonna do that. You're not gonna do that for someone if you don't care about them. But it definitely broke my heart when Cordelia, when she entered her room, because they do have separate rooms, when she says, "Where are your things? Where are you, James?" And this is all inner monologue, but it truly represents the pain that Cordelia has internally because she has been pining and she has been in love with James for so long, and she just yearns for that relationship. She just yearns for that love that she has had for him to love her back. And I just cannot wait for the moment when that bracelet stops working and Grace finally lets him loose of her power, where he can finally realize who he's meant to be with, because it's getting to the point of overly infuriation. That's not even a word, I don't think, but you know what I mean. There are just so many James and Cordelia moments on this one, like even him unbuttoning her corset, and him just being all flustered and her being all flustered, and then the ball scene where she's like, "Oh, but husbands aren't meant to dance with their wives," and he goes, "Oh, but this husband does." That just, points for James, because even if he right now is not aware of his own feelings, he still knows that he cares for Cordelia, and for now that's enough, but I need him to snap out of it. Cordelia is flinching every time she touches Cortana, and I don't understand what's happening with Cortana here. She literally cut herself with Cortana, and then I just passed the scene where she touches Cortana, and once she does, there's like a big blob of light that explodes out of where she touched Cortana, and then she has like an L-shaped scar on her hand. And I need to understand what is happening with the sword. Is it because she killed Belial in book 1? Or what exactly is happening with Cortana to make it react that way to Cordelia when it chose Cordelia? I definitely need to understand why those things are happening, because poor Cordelia is just out here trying to shadow hunt and the sword's not letting her. But I do have a theory regarding that, and I feel like what's happening with Cortana is gonna tie back to Waylon the Smith, and they are going to visit Waylon the Smith, which we already know he's alive and he's well, but nobody has ever talked to him. Like, he has been like estranged from the world for like years. But I feel like in order to get some answers, Cordelia is gonna travel to see Waylon the Smith. We've also been seeing that James is getting headaches whenever he thinks of Cordelia. What is up with that? What is up with them headaches? I know that's Grace's power, but anyway, the fact that he gets kind of like amnesia when he gets the headache, I have a theory regarding that too. I know it's like the obvious option of James being the killer, but could he possibly be the killer because of Grace's power? Because the fact that every time he thinks about Cordelia, he gets a headache, and that very same night somebody is killed. So I have two options in regards to theories. It can either be Belial possessing someone, or it could be James after those episodes of headaches because he's thinking of Cordelia and he is under wraps of Grace's power. So those are some theories that I have regarding that. I also just need to say this, emotionally constipated. What else is new? The Herondales are literally emotionally constipated, and I need them to snap out of it. All of them, every single Herondale. Like, please, can we just have one normal, emotionally capable and stable Herondale? The killer is also taking Shadowhunter runes, and that's why the murders are happening. I just need to find out who's doing this, because I am stressed for what is going to happen. Also, the Colt, the gun. I know in modern day shadow hunting, we see guns and we see like bows and arrows and we see just like a bunch of technological things that we didn't see in the early stages of the shadow hunter world. I don't think that Colt is gonna end well. I have a bad feeling about that Colt, about that gun, and the fact that it only answers to James. I don't like that either. Something's up with that. Something is iffy with that. Jesse Blackthorne also professed his love for Lucy, and I am not okay. The way he said, a ghost is falling in love. I need them together. I just need, what's their ship name? Julie? Leslie? Whatever their ship name is, I just want them together so bad. The fact that he professed his love, their chemistry is fantastic. And then Lucy commands him to dance with her. My little heart could not take that, my little heart. Also, one of my favorite things happened. Being woken up after a nightmare, preceded by comfort and cuddling. One of my favorite things ever. It happened in this book with James and Cordelia. And the tension in that scene, the chemistry, the angst. Miss Cassandra Clare, you better freaking deliver. I know the ending of this book is not gonna be good. I can already foresee it. Oh my god, if there is one thing that I always enjoy with Cassandra Clare books, is the sense of found family. It's the sense of parabati and friendship. That aspect of the books have always been one of the most beautiful in my opinion. We just got this line from James to Matthew where he tells him, "No one need be alone to settle themselves. All I want for you, Math, is that you love yourself as much as I love you." It's just, again, the sense of found family, the love that Parabati hold for each other because they have a deeper connection than your typical people. That is just stunning to me. I freaking love them so much. Their relationship just reminds me so much. It's like a mirror to Will and Jem. And I love that. Y'all, what the hell? Not freaking Elias, Cordelia's father, coming into their house and demanding that James gives him 5,000 pounds. If not, he is going to put a word with the Inquisitor because the Clave already distrusts his mother because she is half warlock, half shadow hunter, in order for Lucy and Cordelia to not go through with the Parabati ceremony. I cannot believe the audacity of this man to try and correct his wrongs doing this, and who knows what he's gonna use this money for? Who knows if he's actually gonna use this for the right cause or if he's gonna use this for more substances? I cannot believe the audacity of this man. He, like, the double standard of telling James, do not use my daughter as an excuse, and then he proceeds to use all of what he's saying as an excuse in order to get money. Wait, Cordelia's dad is the one who died? Literally, Cordelia's mom just came up and said, he's dead, Layla. They found him dead this morning. Your father is dead. Are you kidding me? I don't know what to say. Okay, but not Lucy trying to command Jesse to come back from the dead. Why is Lucy like this? I am in distress. I cannot believe she has tried to do this. I know. And then she goes into this black void that is supposedly death. And then Jesse just casually drops this incredible line. Like, why? What's the reason? And Lucy tells him, death is a jealous mistress. She fights to keep you. And then Jesse says, I am not hers. I am yours for as long as I can be. Okay, but no, Thomas cannot die right now. I swear, if Thomas dies, if Thomas is attacked, I am personally coming from Miss Cassandra Clare. Okay, everyone, so a little bit of an update, an update on Chain of Iron, because I need to keep reading. I haven't read anything today, and I just need to finish this book as soon as freaking possible. So a little bit of an update as to where I am right now. I'm literally on page 350. That's 350, which I love because it's a chapter break, hella satisfying. But really quickly, Matthew and Cordelia's dynamic in this book is freaking fantastic. I cannot even begin to explain to you. I just love the fact that it's kind of a mirror and it's very reminiscent of Will and Tessa's and Jem's relationship in the Infernal Devices. And you can tell that they have a lot of love for each other, especially again with Cordelia and Matthew. And he has told her now what has happened with his mom. And when he went to the shadow market and got a truth potion and it cost her a miscarriage, and now she has been unable to carry another child ever since. And that is something that he hasn't told anyone. And Cordelia is the first person to know. And I love that first moment of confidence between them two. And just after that, I can just tell that they're going to embark on this journey together, because they also have gone to see Waylon the Smith by now. And when I tell you, one, that scene was interesting in and out of itself because she has now sworn fealty to Waylon the Smith. But it also just felt too easy in the way that he fixed Cortana. And he was like, all right, it's fixed, here you go. So that felt a little bit too easy for me. And that's why I think that that deal with Waylon the Smith swearing fealty to him is not gonna end good, because that was just too easy. That just cannot be good in this world. Also, we got a scene where Grace visited James and she commanded him to kiss her. And here's my thing, and this is why I kind of fluctuate with Grace in this book. There's periods of time where I go, oh my god, poor Grace. But also, Grace is just so manipulative and she has mastered that art by now. And she does so, even if she is being controlled by Tatiana. I'm just like, you are the one choosing to go into James's house and force him to kiss you, and then be all hypocritical and tell him, I don't know who you were kissing, but that wasn't me. It's like, Grace, shut up. You know he doesn't care about you. You know it's your power making him do all these things, and she still goes through with them, and it's just infuriating. It's also really interesting to see in this book in particular how the conflict is set up for the Dark Artifices. Grace Blackthorn is the catalyst to everything. How can I like her? How can I expect any sort of redemption when she literally causes mayhem many years into the future, 100 years into the future? How can I like her when she is causing all of this mayhem? I just cannot. I cannot. I was surprised though to know that Tatiana bought Grace. She bought them from the Cartwrights. That was something that I definitely was not expecting. I definitely thought Tatiana was the only person who could take care of Grace. Apparently not. Apparently she was bought off the Cartwrights because they needed money. So this is all just all sorts of messed up. Will I like Grace by the end of this vlog? Stay tuned. I don't know. So those are my updates so far. I shall get back to reading now and see where this night takes me, because it is nighttime and I just need to keep on reading, make some progress. Fingers crossed I'll finish this book either tonight or tomorrow, and that's what's happening. I'll keep updating you guys as I go. In shock right now. I told you all it was too easy with freaking Waylon. It was Lilith. It was Lilith all along. Jesse is being possessed by Belial. It was Jesse all along doing the killing. And now freaking Cordelia has sworn freaking fealty to Lilith. I swear Cassandra Clare is obsessed with incest, and I do not understand it. Tatiana literally just commanded Grace, because apparently Tatiana is the reverse Grace and she can control women, and she just commanded her to seduce Jesse. Thought we had moved past this, Miss Clare. I know they technically share no blood, but still, I hate it here. So it was Tatiana all along. Hello, I am in the same clothes as I was in the intro because I completely was unable to function after I finished this book. And now I can finally give you all of my thoughts. So it was always Tatiana. Tatiana is controlling Belial, and she possesses the reverse Grace and she can control women. So I kind of understand Grace, even though I don't want to, and I still dislike her. But now we know that Grace has been controlled by Tatiana this whole time, which, I mean, I already knew she was being kind of manipulated by Tatiana, but I didn't know she was being controlled by Tatiana. Not them arresting Thomas because they thought he was the killer. He literally, like, being with a body doesn't necessarily make you the murderer. It can make you a person of interest, but not just blaming him for the whole thing, especially when there were other people on patrol with him. Something is clearly happening in the Spiral Labyrinth. What is it? We don't know, because Magnus and Jem are away trying to figure out whatever is going on in the Spiral Labyrinth, and we saw none of that in this book. So I hope that we get those answers in Chain of Thorns. Also, something that broke my heart in the last few bits that I read, which is also something that I think Christine worded perfectly when we were reading. It's just so heartbreaking to see where Lucy and Cordelia are right now with their relationship. They're just drifting apart and more apart because there are so many secrets in between their friendship that at this point I genuinely don't know like when and how they're gonna come clean to each other and like kind of move past that. Really did break my heart reading them not being as close as they were in book one, because in book one their relationship was such a big part of the story, and in this one we barely even see them together, and when they are, they're both burdened by each other's secrets. So it's just insane where they're at right now, and I just hope that in Chain of Thorns that'll get better. Thomas and Alistair, we finally got some sort of action, and then Alistair goes back to being his dumb self and he just goes, I'm sorry, we can't do this. Alistair, you know you're into Thomas and you already know that Thomas is into you, and if 2 + 2 gives you 4, why are you going for 6? Because why are you making it complicated? It's not complicated. I think this definitely fits kind of that line of thought of things aren't complicated, human beings make it complicated. That's them. And then at the end we know that Matthew is for sure in love with Cordelia, which I stand, because fair stairs is the way to go in this household. I'm kidding, I don't know, I feel like this entire vlog it's just been me not knowing who I want Cordelia to end up with, but she's already married to James. I don't think they're gonna get divorced. Like, fair stairs, at the end they go to Paris and Matthew leaves behind a letter to James being like, she deserves better and I love her, so I took her. Bye, friend. I was like, damn, Matthew. But I will say, I love the relationship that Cordelia and Matthew developed in the second book, because 1, they have a lot of chemistry. 2, we also kind of see a little bit of growth from Matthew. We already know that Matthew has so much baggage, he has so much trauma, and there's just so many toxic tendencies that he has. You know, he hides himself behind substance abuse, and I really love to see kind of the progress that he did when he opened up to Cordelia and he told her the truth about his mom. I just love that for Matthew, and I also love that Cordelia is able to be 100% truthful with Matthew as well. So I just love their bond so much, and I feel like their bond is so much more open than James's and Cordelia's is. I don't really mind the love triangle, but you know exactly who she's gonna end up with, because Cordelia has loved James for so long. So I feel like there's really no chance for Matthew. Obviously, even considering the fact that James and Cordelia are already married. So as much as I'd love for them to end up together, I just don't think that's gonna happen. And so I think those are all my spoiler thoughts. Hello, non-spoiler people. Hello. If you have not read Chain of Iron, this is the section for you. And if you watch the entirety of the vlog and you want to know all of my final thoughts, I'll also get into those right now. Chain of Iron as a second installment to The Last Hours. Again, not the strongest book in regards to plot. I feel like there were times where it definitely got like confusing or like muddled for me, because so many things were happening all at the same time that it was definitely hard to keep a track of some things. But I definitely enjoyed my ride in this book. I think what truly shines with The Last Hours more than anything else is the characters. You have the Merry Thieves, which are just such a lovable group of friends. There's just so much to go around with that friend group. I love Cordelia and I love James and I love Lucy. Hate Grace. And I just love all of the characters in between, all of those little Easter eggs that we got with Jem and Tessa and Will. I absolutely love that about this series. I just love how kind of everything ties in together. If anything, we truly do see the dark artifices being set up in this book, which was something that I definitely was not expecting going into this. I knew that necromancy was going to take a big part of this book because of where we ended in book 1, but I didn't know to what extent it would go, and I didn't know how that was going to tie in and play into into other Shadowhunter worlds and stories. And so I love the fact that she kind of does it again, in which she has an overarching theme throughout all of her books, and it all somehow ends up connecting, and it's all like a domino effect of conflict after conflict throughout hundreds of years, and it doesn't happen out of nowhere. It's just been in the works for so long. And so I love that about Cassandra Clare, because you can tell that this is an author that knows her world, knows her characters, knows where she wants to go, and she knows how to execute that vision. And so for that, I really appreciate what was done in Chain of Iron. However, again, there were some things, to me at least, while I was reading that were kind of confusing, just because some parts of the book were so fast paced that I was just like, let's step back a little bit and rethink about this and see how we're wording it, see how it's being executed, because sometimes it was confusing. Like, I can't even lie to you. I am also kind of concerned for the third book in the Last Hour series, because I feel like what Cassandra Clare is trying to do with the series is so ambitious. I could totally see the series being like a, you know, 4-book series. Maybe I feel like this would really benefit from another book instead of it being a trilogy, just because there's so much happening, and that third book is most likely going to be massive. I wouldn't be surprised if this would be another Queen of Air and Darkness, where we have an almost 1,000-page book. I wouldn't be surprised, because it needs to be that length in order for everything to be executed and wrapped up in a way where everything kind of feels satisfying for the reader. I am kind of concerned for that third book, but I am still very excited to see how this all unfolds. I also loved seeing the growth that we got from some of these characters, people standing up for themselves, people just working kind of behind the scenes on their own traumas and trying to open up to other people. I definitely think we did see some character growth, and we also saw some things that were infuriating in book 1 that were very much well done in this book, because I just had, you know, a lot of sighs of relief reading this book, where I went, oh my god, finally, or oh my god, yes, this feels so good, like it finally happened. And so there were a lot of things that I was expecting to happen in this book, and they did, and for that, so thankful, so thankful. I will also say the plot twists in this book, some I was expecting, some I wasn't really expecting, so I am kind of also glad that we got a mix of both. And also the ending of this book, talk about a cliffhanger. You guys know I personally love cliffhangers in books. They make me excited for what is to follow, and safe to say that the ending of this book, like that cliffhanger, was so well done. It just kind of, again, excites you for the next book and to see exactly what the hell is going on, because even if we got some answers, we still have no answers. So there's still so much to explore with this story that I'm peeping. There is also a lot of parallels in regards to characters and relationships in this one to the Infernal Devices. I think primarily seeing characters like Matthew, James, and Cordelia and comparing them to Jem, Will, and Tessa, like there are so many parallels in those relationships that it's very nostalgic to see, because you can kind of see how they are similar and yet different in so many ways. That said, this book is a definite page turner. Like, I personally couldn't stop turning those pages. I was so invested in the story. I was so invested in what was to follow. These books are always such an enjoyable thing for me. But I think the more that I think about like the issues that I had with the story, I think this definitely falls more under a 4-star rather than anything else. So, and I think the more that I vocalize the reasons why I liked and kind of the downsides of the book, I do genuinely think it's more of a 4-star rather than anything. Even though those last 150 pages blew my freaking mind, I still, again, like the issues with like the pacing and like the story and just so many things happening at once that were just so confusing. But overall, such an amazing Shadowhunter book. Like, I just am loving the last hours, and I kind of don't want it to end, but I also kind of want it to end because I need to see how it'll end. If you guys have read this book, let me know down in the comments, because I'm genuinely interested to know all of your thoughts. Or if you have yet to read it, you know, we can chat in the comments anyway. Let me know all of your thoughts down below. And if you reach the end of the video, I know there's an iron chain emoji, so let's leave the chain of iron emojis down below, because I think they fit perfectly with the book. So thankfully there is one. Don't forget to subscribe down below if you like this types of videos. I am constantly doing reading vlogs, book reviews, hauls, TBRs, wrap-ups, the whole shebang. And I am also streaming throughout the week, doing my weekly reading sprints, so I'm sure you don't want to miss that either. And for more exclusive content, for more Mel I guess you could say, for more one-on-one interaction. I do have a Patreon. We call ourselves the Citadel, and we also recently chose our April buddy reads for the Patreon, and you just get a bunch of exclusive content over there, exclusive streams. We have a whole Discord server, so if you want to join us over there, the link for that is also down below, as well as all of my links for my social media. And yeah, I love you guys so much, and I shall see you on the next one. Bye guys.